part of town. Calling to the singer, said sing my favorite song. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home.
Hello, this is Gary Revel or Revel. I'm coming to you from a location and an exact time that will not be disclosed. Some of you will understand because of the nature of the work that I have done in the past. Others may think it a little bizarre. But anyway, this is the first episode of my new podcast. The podcast will just be called the Gary Revel Podcast. The first 3 episodes are going to be devoted to my work as a special investigator on the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy and the Nobel Peace Prize winner, civil rights leader, Reverend and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And then we'll see where it goes from there. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy listening and looking at what I've got to provide for you, and we will talk more later.
Remarks of the President to the American Newspaper Publishers Association, Waldorf Astoria Hotel, New York City, April 27, 1961.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate very much your generous invitation to be here tonight. You bear heavy responsibilities these days, and the article I read some time ago reminded me of how particularly heavily the burdens of present-day events bear upon your profession. The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. But I do ask every publisher, every editor, and every newsman in the nation to re-examine his own standards and to recognize the nature of our country's peril. In time of war, the government and the press have customarily joined in an effort based largely on self-discipline to prevent unauthorized disclosures to the enemy. In times of clear and present danger, the courts have held that even the privileged rights of the First Amendment must yield to the public's need for national security. Today, no war has been declared, and however fierce the struggle may be, it may never be declared in the traditional fashion. Our way of life is under attack. Those who make themselves our enemy are advancing around the globe. The survival of our friends is in danger, and yet no war has been declared. No borders have been crossed by marching troops. No missiles have been fired. If the press is awaiting a declaration of war before it imposes the self-discipline of combat conditions, then I can only say that no war ever posed a greater threat to our security. If you are awaiting a finding of clear and present danger, then I can only say that the danger has never been
In
more clear.
1977,
Its
work
presence has never
alongside the
been more
House
imminent.
Select Committee on Assassinations, diving deep into the tragic murders of President John F. Kennedy and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. were pivotal moments that shaped our nation. These assassinations were not just attacks on individuals, but on the very ideals of democracy and justice. Each piece of evidence brought us closer to understanding the forces at play, and the impact of these events still resonates today.
Early in the evening, the sun was going down. He stood on the balcony in a troubled part of town, calling to the singer, said, sing my favorite song.